Hi, I'm Marty Levinson. Welcome to the Northtown News Magazine.
Hi, I'm Marty Levinson. Welcome to the Northtown News Magazine.
Hi, I'm the real Marty Levinson.
Come on, baby, don't you wanna go? Come on, baby, don't you wanna go? Back to that lemon light city, sweet Hope, Chicago. 224 446. Come on, baby, now get your business fixed. Come on, honey, don't you?
Hi, I'm Marty Levinson. Welcome to the Northtown News Magazine show with the greatest cameraman around, Sonny Hirsch, and your host, Avi Myers.
Thank you, Marty. Avi Myers, Northtown Neighborhood News Magazine, a presentation of Sonny Hirsch and myself. Dial us up on the web at www.ntnm.org. From there, you'll get links to see us on YouTube. All shows are on YouTube. Over 190,000 shows watched. We're real big on community policing, which is changing. Okay, all meetings in the 24th District are now going to be on Thursdays. The second Thursday of the month will be the meetings for the 10 sectors, one being at 5, one being at 6, one being at 7. Go to caps24.org, which is a site that Sonny Hirsch, in his spare time as chairman of the District Advisory Committee of the 24th District, runs to see who's at what time. This will be starting in May. So if there's any meetings left in April, we're fine. But the entire 24th District, the 20 sector has its day, the 30 sector has its day, one on the third Thursday and one on the fourth Thursday. In any event, it is a pleasure to introduce you to someone who Joe Chukche, who brought him, says needs no introduction, and we have to say that in honor of Joe Chukche. The fact of the matter is he's also somebody who's our most frequent guest, and frankly, he's the one that made us popular in the first place. And to this day, people say, "Oh, are you the guy that's on Berny Stone's show?"
Well, Berny Stone has a show now.
Well, yeah, and we're going to talk about that. In any event, I want to introduce you to, well, no introduction, Alderman Berny Stone. How you doing?
Oh, good, Avi. How are you?
Good, thank you. So talk to us.
Well, the electorate has spoken, and in a few more weeks, I'll have Thursdays free. I'll be able to come to your meetings.
And you're more than invited.
Thank you so much. I always only go where I'm invited. You know that. I've told you that 100 times before.
Right.
But as of May 16th, I'll be relieved of my duties, and one door closes, another door opens. You know.
That's the way life works. And frankly, I think the community will be a poorer place for it.
Well,
but,
that remains to be seen. But the fact is that
it's not a reflection on anybody else. That's just a reflection on you.
well, if I had gone another month and a half, I would have had 38 years. But you know, like I said, one door closes, another door opens. Last Saturday evening, I started being a talk show host like you, only I'm on radio, WLS.
Yes, slightly larger station.
890 on your AM dial. Hopefully it will be extended, and I'll be on as a regular. And I enjoyed it immensely, even though unfortunately you couldn't hear it because it was still, the sun was still shining when I started.
Right. Now, what was the format?
Well, this Saturday I just took calls. I started out by saying I don't want any softballs. I want give me hard questions, and Berny Stone tells it like it is. And I got a lot of calls. In fact, I hardly had time to tell any stories. It was all calls. A lot of people who know me called and to thank me and to say hello, and it was my maiden voyage on radio. But I got to answer a few questions anyway, and I enjoyed myself immensely. And I went on for 2 hours, and it passed so quickly, it was hard to believe it could pass that quickly.
I'm glad. That sounds like you had a great time.
I did. I enjoyed myself answering questions and conversing with people. Art Herman, my first aldermanic secretary, called me from California.
One of my Facebook friends.
Yeah, and Pat McDonough called me from Sarasota. You know, the Chicago Clout TV guy. He called from Sarasota, Florida. And I really had fun.
No, that's great. So did you get hardball questions?
Not too many. One really sort of hardball question from my good friend Tom Morse. He tells me, "You're not, Big Daddy, you're not getting off that easy." And he gave me a hardball question. But Tom is, you know, former candidate for alderman, ran against me in 2003 and helped in this last campaign. But Tom is a good guy, and he gave me a tough question, but I tried to answer the best I could.
Did you have a favorite question?
Well, my son came on the program. He talked about his lawsuit, which is advancing in the federal court, the one where he's questioning the fact that you need 12,500 signatures to run for mayor. Apparently it's advancing in the courts, and I said I agreed with him in as much as you only need 5,000 signatures statewide to run for governor. Why do you need 12,500 signatures to run for mayor?
I think I could answer that one.
Well, the answer is really very simple, because they don't want any competition. That's to discourage people from running for mayor.
Yeah, which is why 20 people filed this time.
And why really, in many cases, their signatures were to say the least, faulty. But in some cases they challenge, and in other cases they don't challenge. They pick who they want to challenge. And so what you get is some candidates they can't challenge because they have too many, and other candidates they want to leave on the ballot so that they can diffuse the votes of other candidates. For instance, if you have a number of black candidates, you want to leave more black candidates on the ballot to diffuse the black vote. That's done on purpose. And similarly with Hispanics, they leave Hispanics on the ballot to diffuse the Hispanic vote.
Yeah, in this case you had two different Hispanics running, and that.
And they left another Hispanic on, or something like that. You know, these are the tricks of the trade.
Right, and from interviewing different election lawyers and talking to various people too, it's just, and you know what? Even though sometimes I think he has a gas pocket within his cranial area, it is interesting to read Ben Jarofsky sometimes in the Reader about the election board antics.
Well, I happen to like Ben, but
I like him too.
I disagree with him on some things, but I like Ben, and
I like his writing. I just wish he'd friend me on Facebook.
I think Ben, in the majority of the time, is correct. I don't agree with him on TIFs. I think TIFs are valuable for outlying wards. I think he's right on TIFs in downtown wards, but I think he's wrong on outlying wards like ours. But listen, Ben's entitled to his opinions.
No, but listen, I read every single article he's got in the Reader.
Well, I don't, because I don't get the Reader every week.
And you can do it online.
I know, but I'm up until now, I haven't had the time to do that. But now maybe I'll have a little more time.
Yeah. No, I always pick. Well, now that they've got it at the Quickie Mart on the corner by Prater's. So that's where I pick it up, because I don't always get over to Devon Bank.
Yeah.
And they're usually gone pretty fast. But no, I wish, Ben, if you actually watch this, you know, friend me on Facebook. But I actually did challenge him one time when you and him had a tiff about a different kind of tiff.
Yeah. Well, Ben is very, very, very
intelligent.
He's very close with my son too.
Oh, that's right. He wrote about him with the other problems.
Yes. So listen, And he was the moderator in both of the debates, and I thought he did a pretty good job.
I thought he did I saw the first one, he did a very fair job. The second debate I didn't go to, frankly, because I was not just distributing newspapers, but I was very upset by a lot of things that were not with you.
Why don't you say what it was? My opponent refused to let you film it.
That is correct. As a matter of fact, that's true. We asked to film it. And the whole purpose was that we were going to show the show uncut on the web. Sonny and I were going to film the debate. We were going to put it uncut, start to finish, on the web that Thursday night. And you know what? I guess that's what transparency is not allowing us to film it.
Yeah, well, she was all for transparency, except if it shows her up. Yeah. Now, as a matter of fact, she did very well on the second debate, and she was foolish not to let you film it. But in the meantime, she thought she would do as badly as she did on the first debate. That's why she didn't let you film the debate.
Well, one thing I will say, and you know what, I saw Scott Sistick going door to door with her, and I even though I don't always agree with Scott, I have a lot of admiration for his work as a political campaign manager and operative and all the rest of it. And I got to tell you, he did one of the great sales jobs of all time in this particular election, and I think he deserves an awful lot of credit. And Scott, Scott and I do communicate. So, because you know yourself in politics, for the most part, you want to be friendly with just about everybody after an election, even if you fought against them.
Well, I tell you, the Tribune criticized me and said I wasn't very gracious after this election. But it's hard to be gracious when you get kicked in the groin. And this particular family has been kicking me in the groin after I did everything in my power to not only take him from a precinct captain to a state senator, but take him under my wing, and all they've done ever since is stab me in the back, and it's very hard to be gracious after that.
No, I can understand that.
And if I sound like a ungracious, unappreciative, I am. So that's it.
Well, I know in my case, listen, I have to give credit where credit is due, and I think that Senator Silverstein set a world record for most newspapers strewn on a street in any given election in a short period of time.
How about well, I can't give him credit for it. I give a certain Sikh and his Mexican employees credit for most signs destroyed.
Yeah, you know what? I heard 100 signs a day were going.
Yeah, well, and while he was accusing me of doing it, they were busy destroying my signs. But listen, that happens in political campaigns. I've been guilty of it probably in previous not me personally, but people who were involved in my campaign have done it in the past. So, and while I didn't know about it, I found out about it later, and so I can't complain when it's done to me. But as I said at the end of the campaign, I've been supported by the machine. This time, the machine destroyed me. So that's the way it goes.
So we're looking at talk show host. Now that's not going to. You spend an awful lot of time in city council. I mean, I consider other things like maybe being a jockey at the thoroughbred tracks, or
too heavy for that.
Oh, okay.
But listen, this is my fourth reincarnation. I'd remember I've been a lawyer, I've been an actor, and I've been a city councilman. So now I'm a talk show host.
By the way, some will tell you the last three jobs all go together.
Probably. Certainly, lawyer didn't hurt me as a member of the council, and being an actor obviously did not hurt me either. And neither of those jobs will hurt me in my position. Neither of the three jobs will hurt me in my position as talk show host, as you probably know as a talk show host.
It's great. It's great experience. There's no question about it. Well, first of all, being a lawyer, depending on what you're doing law-wise, you've got to be on your feet. You've got to be thinking.
Well, don't forget, I'm on retired status. I really cannot practice because I'm on retired status. But
Oh, that's officially you're on retired state?
Oh, yes. But I passed the bar in 1952, so that's 57 years ago.
You have to take continuing
59 years ago.
So you have to take, I do know from some of my friends who are lawyers, you have to take continuing education classes or something.
Well, that's the reason I'm on retired status.
Gotcha. But I mean, if you took them and you wanted to, not that I think you want to go that way.
No. I'm very happy being on retired status as far as law is concerned. And
so what about the jockey gig?
No. Speed has never been one of my attributes.
Yeah, not mine either.
Well, maybe when I was in high school and I was playing guard, as a pulling guard, then you had to be able to move down the field.
Yeah. By the way, Ed McElroy, who happens to be a big fan of yours, who was very sorry to see what happened. Speaking of jockeys, he's been trying to hook me up with one of the Careys to get him on the show. And I happen to be a horse racing fan myself. And
well, they run the track. They own the track.
They own the track. It's funny. I used to, on Saturday nights, I used to go to the track during the winter. And I used to go to Fireside afterwards on Ravenswood with some of my friends. And we'd be looking at the program. And there was a waitress there. Her name was Aileen Carey, who happened to be the daughter of the Tom Carey, who used to be the president, the sister of the one who runs it now. And I think at the time she was studying to be a veterinarian.
Oh, that's great.
Well, it works out well when you're
if you own a track, if you run around the track and you're a veterinarian, that's a good position.
No, a very good position. Yeah. You've got to, at least I'm sure she knows which end of the horse is which.
Yeah, I'm sure of that.
Well, anyway, I haven't seen. We're talking like in the '90s, so that's been quite a while. And but in terms of, so are you going to look to do certain things? I mean, is there some unfinished business right now in city council you want to take care of before things close out?
Well, I haven't stopped serving the public. We're still doing business as usual, and I still go in every Monday and Thursday evening as I have in the past, and we still are taking care of our constituents, and we'll do so up until the very end. Now, the hardest part is going to be that last council meeting. I've been dreading that even before the election. I knew if I lose, I have to say goodbye, and saying goodbye is the hardest part. My farewell speech will be the hardest part of my 38 years in the city council.
Wow. Now, your menu money, I mean, you assigned menu money for this year?
Well, I didn't. They held back the menu. They still haven't finished my 2010 menu, but they held back the 2011 menu, so I'm sure my successor, who shall go nameless, will get the 2011 menu.
Oh, well, now the 2010 is to put in more of the double-deck street lamps, or?
Well, I think they finished the 2010 street lamps, but there's alleys. I know one alley in particular, which is between Washtenaw and Fairfield, and between Peterson and Glen Lake that they haven't done. And it's one obviously the worst alley in the city that they haven't done. And I think there's a couple other things that they haven't done under my 2010 menu. And I certainly hope they're going to complete the items under the 2010 menu. There's also a couple items under previous menus that they haven't done, like speed bumps and things of that nature. That some of this stuff is 2 and 3 years old. That we keep calling their attention to, and they, oh yeah, we'll do that. Oh yeah. Okay.
Now tell me something, just out of curiosity. What are the images I keep having in my mind, and I don't think I ever mentioned it on the air, and I kind of wish I had put this in writing in one of the papers.
What's that?
Is on the February election day, if I'm not mistaken, it was the February election day, when Mayor Daley was on his boat on the Caribbean or whatever it was, or on a boat in maybe it was the Virgin Islands, but some island off the coast. I kept having this image in my mind of the Sopranos, of Tony Soprano dancing at a charity ball, while his guys are whacking 6 people.
No, wasn't that the
Marlon Brando, The Godfather?
No, yeah, well, I remember that too, but but that was fiction. but I can recall.
Well, I'm talking about figuratively whacking at the polls, as if he had nothing to do. I mean, I get the feeling that
he
might have
didn't.
had
He didn't have anything to do with this election. He didn't endorse anybody.
Yeah, he didn't endorse Tony Preckwinkle, and he didn't endorse Rahm Emanuel.
Right.
And Obama goes through a long speech in which he doesn't endorse Rahm Emanuel.
Do you know? He told one of the reporters when she asked him about Rahm Emanuel, he said, "Where you been?" when she asked him about Rahm Emanuel, he said, "Where you been?" That's and Rahm Emanuel. Wish him luck.
Well, you know what? It's just amazing to me because, he can endorse beyond belief, throw money and power and direction that way, do the equivalent of having guys whacked while he's on the boat. I mean, politically, whatever. I mean, not.
How about in China while the April 5th?
Yeah, and by the same token, he didn't endorse. I mean, how gullible. I mean, Chicago Tribune. Want to know why I don't subscribe to you? You fall for anything. It's unbelievable.
Life is like that. Let me tell you something. Rahm Emanuel throws out a line to the papers, and they eat it up about cutting the council in half, and the public eats it up. And they tell, "Oh, look how much money you're going to save." There's a guy by the name of Pat Quinn, when he was in private life, that told you about cutting the legislature by a third and how much money that we'd save by cutting the legislature by a third. So he went out and went with petitions, and they did it, and they cut the legislature by a third. You know how much money we saved? Absolutely nothing. Actually, it cost us more when we cut the legislature by a third because they had to hire more help to help them handle the bigger districts. And let me tell you, if you cut the council in half, it'll cost you more. But let the public believe that it's going to cost them less. It won't cost them less, it'll cost them more. And why did Rahm Emanuel do it? Because it's easier to control 13 votes than it is to control 26 votes. And that's why he did it. Because the boss wants to control the body. And that's why he did it. And let me tell you, the public eats it up because they don't know any better. The whole thing here is control. It has absolutely nothing to do with cost saving. It has to do with the boss controlling the body. The boss can control 13 votes a lot easier than he can control 26 votes. So that's all that's involved. It has absolutely nothing to do with cost. Now, let's fool the people. Abraham Lincoln said it. You can fool some of the people some of the time. You can fool all of the people some of the time, but you can't fool all the people all the time. But here's a guy that's coming into office. He's going to try and fool all the people all of the time.
And the Tribune and the Sun-Times are buying it.
Oh, come on! Their editorial boards. They sit up in this high place, and they think they know everything.
Well, they certainly know what Emmanuel's butt tastes like at this point.
Well,
not to mention Daley's.
That honeymoon will only last for a few months. Pretty soon they're going to start picking on him too.
But let me ask you though, aren't they the ones who have to vote on this?
The aldermen are chicken littles. The sky is falling. They're scared to death. They have no cojones. He'll control them. He has no power over them. You can't give jobs. In the old days, the mayor had jobs to give. He has no jobs to give. He has no funds to give them. He can hold back services, but if he holds back services, he loses the votes of the people in the ward. So he really can't do that. So, and why they're afraid of the mayor, I don't know. But they're all scared to death. If they only get together, they have more power than the mayor. That's the reason that the body it's a strong council, weak mayor system of government. But they have no cojones, and they'll all give in. And Mr. Emanuel will be Emperor Emanuel, just like I said he would be. I don't care whether he looks good in a toga or not.
Now, so these guys are actually going to cut their own throats and lose half their jobs?
Absolutely.
Fools.
Of course. But they don't have control over that. The state legislature does. And listen, in my ward, he got a twofer. What's a twofer? He got the alderman, he got a state senator. He bought two for one.
Well, as somebody mentioned, yeah, that's true. That's very much true. You've got basically 3 positions sitting in one bedroom.
Well, that's the power of the throne. They wanted to get rid of the machine, and they did so by installing the new machine. They have a new machine in the 50th ward.
Yeah, in the words of the Who, meet the old boss. Same as the old boss.
Yeah, well, I was never a boss, but then nobody ever understood that. I never used the political power that I had, and now they really got political power, all residing in one bedroom.
That's very true, and it'll be very interesting to see people's reaction, but they have to react first. And at this point, you know, you're still the alderman, and
well, only for a few more days.
Well, I'll enjoy those few days.
Well, as I say, one door closes, another door opens, and I'm not crying. I had a great career. I'm very satisfied with the things I was able to accomplish. I've really these last few days since the election were very rewarding. People have come up to me and from all over not only the city but from the suburban areas and thanked me for my service, and it's been very rewarding to me during this last month of all the people who have been so nice to me. And like when I was at White Sox opening day, I was overwhelmed by all the people who came up to me and expressed their gratitude, and it made me feel really great.
I think that's terrific. And by the way, you're even after your aldermanship is over, I'm going to invite you early and often, as they say.
Well,
to the show.
I appreciate that, and of course, like you've always said, I always tell it like it is, and I will continue to tell it like it is. You don't have to worry about the knife in the back. You'll get it right in the face.
It's true. You will. And I have. I have never had anybody yell at me so loud in front of so many people as you have. I will never forget the day, and I don't think I've ever told this story on TV, when a certain man named Mike Moses decided to run for alderman.
Yeah.
I was afraid. I was already instructed by Howie Carroll not to come anywhere near the 50th ward office. And I had to see you because I was president of the Northtown Community Council, so I came early. And you started laying into me. And we were friends before Mike decided to run, and I didn't get a chance there. Yeah. But you said, you tell Mike Moses this. And you were saying it loud, and you said, you didn't use any swear words, by the way, but you gave it to me good. In the meantime, they were having a meeting. The full ward committee was meeting in the back. When I opened the door, they had stopped their meeting, and everybody in the world was standing in that corridor who wanted to see who the hell you were yelling at.
Well, I've never hidden my light under a bushel, and I've never held back on what I feel.
No, and I appreciate that. And by the way, I do want to say publicly on the show, just real quick, that when the new alderman takes office, they have an open invitation to come on anytime they want and discuss ward activities. But you're being invited no matter what, early and often, like I said.
Well, from now on, I'm a political analyst, though.
Right, that sounds good. And analyze away, and I look forward to hearing your findings, and I hope you have good luck on WLS Radio. I want to thank my entire technical crew, Sonny Hirsch. I want to thank Chuck Jay for bringing you. You're gonna learn some interesting stuff, voters of the 50th Ward. But in the meantime, I'm going to appreciate my alderman while I can. Alderman Berny Stone, thank you so much.
Thank you, Avi.
Be well.